Okay, here we are together to enjoy, support each other here as conscious entrepreneurs. This is Unlimited Network Mastermind that we get together every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And today is May 9 already. So here we go, we clear with the intention to support the conscious entrepreneurship, I will say, to really have the courage and the commitment to do the inner work that is necessary to do to manifest our heart desires in business, in this case, that really is what brings us together here, but from a place of ease and grace and really letting go the old consciousness of effort and having to make it and coming from scarcity and fear. And we are really conscious entrepreneurs here, really wanted to manifest from a place of fulfillment and in alignment with the laws of the universe, that thanks to Catherine Ponder and the dynamic laws of prosperity, we are all understanding, I would say, for me, in my case, in a deeper level, I love her perspective, it's nothing that we don't know, but it's nice, I think, to hear from different expressions. And Catherine Ponder, for me, is the perfect balance between the masculine, knowing what we want or what I want, and the feminine, allowing and receiving and taking the time to manifest, like a pregnancy. Sometimes when you see this balance, you'll get less, I don't know, like more faith, like less stress that has to come immediately. You really enjoy the journey. So in that aspect, that Catherine Ponder is really personally giving me a very powerful gift that I hope all of you can enjoy here. And normally we have here Doc Fran, that is the one in charge to read our chat, Peter. What's going on now?
Can people hear you?
I hear myself with echo.
Okay, there.
And now?
Can
you hear me?
Fine. I hear you perfectly fine. I have no problems.
Great, fantastic. So I was just saying that Doc Fran, that is one of our leaders here, is not going to attend today, so we are going to have Candace to read us the chapter. But before we go there, I just would like to acknowledge all of you for taking the time to support your prosperity from the inside out. And the ones that we are here in the panel, remember that, well, thank you for being to begin with, but if you want to be in the panel, someone that could be on the other side, just listen to the video in the unlimitednetwork.com/master-mind. If you are there and you want to be in the panel to engage and to offer your gift, remember to send an email to Arne, A-R-N-E, at unlimitednetwork.com. So then you can be part of this side where we are more alive when, chatting with each other and to really support each other. I love the teamwork energy, where you are not alone, expanding and growing in the direction of manifesting your dreams with ease and grace, I would say. So today we are going to open the chapter number 7 of Catherine Ponder, that is called The Law of Increase. But before that, increase, exactly. But before that, I would like to start with our prayer that she recommended like 3 chapters ago. And I love to read it. It's something that I do every day. And I would like to inspire all of us, if I can, to really do the work, because one thing is to read it and things really change when you practice it every day. So to be aware, to recreate yourself with the Wheel of Fortune or your boarding, treasure map or vision board, whatever you want to call it. But it's something that I'm doing myself. I'm taking this journey seriously, and it's fun. I mean, it's not an effort. I love it, and I really want to test, if this works. So I'm doing the work of every day visualizing my goals, very clear, nurturing them, and being attractive for them from the inside out. So I have to be comfortable already being, let's say, financially free. That is one of the clearest goals that I have, my new lifestyle, and to, don't be worried about money. So this is already happening, but keep growing, So this prayer that I'm going to read here, I would like you to close your eyes and to see if you can feel it in your heart, like to really believe you know, when we really know that the universe, God, the creator, or she called it the Father, you know, is benevolent, and it really looks for the best in you and for you, I mean, it's powerful. Surrender to that, and little by faith, we believe it easily, and believe we create, you know, faster and easy too. So close your eyes if you can, and I'm just going to enjoy this beautiful prayer that says this. I am the rich child of a loving Father. All Father into experience. Divine intelligence is now showing my own God-given wealth, health. Divine intelligence is even now opening the way for my immediate blessings. So true. Thank you, thank you. I have faith that all that is mine by divine right now comes to me in rich abundance. I just want you to imagine that you believe just this sentence, but you really believe it, you know? I mean, it's going to happen. So let's go for it. I have faith that all that is mine by divine right now comes to me in rich abundance. My rich blessings do not interfere with anyone else's good, since God's rich substance is unlimited ever to use. There is a richly fulfilled now in God's own wonderful way. And you can take just a minute to breathe deeply, to enjoy in this.
Can you guys hear everything well?
There was a little slowdown there for a moment, but mostly yes.
Yeah, it's breaking up a little.
You're breaking up, Monica. Read slower.
So what do I need to do?
Read slower.
Okay. What? You want me to read again?
You want to read it one more time, but slow?
Okay. Let's read one more time and hear it, okay? I have this. Okay. Okay, well, let's repeat. I am the rich child of a loving Father. All that the Father has is mine to share and to experience. Divine intelligence is how to claim my own God-given wealth, health, and happiness. Divine is even now opening the way for my immediate blessings. I have faith that all that is mine
We lost you again, Monica.
Okay, looks like I come back by itself. I don't know, because it went off the entire thing here.
We don't have the best internet.
Ah, I see. Okay. Well, I think what we can do then, Candace, that you have good internet there, chapter 7, and then when you finish that, we can go and share all together. But remember that you have that prayer is on page 38 of the Dynamics Laws of Prosperity, and you know, if you can read it every day, really practice what we are learning here. So thank you so much. Welcome, Candace, and let's just read chapter 7.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Prosperity Law of Increase, chapter 7. The time has now come to relax and enjoy what you have already learned in the previous chapters. Indeed, the time has come to act as though you are a full-fledged prosperous thinker, because by the time you have gotten to this chapter, you are truly beginning to be. And you are now ready for the prosperity law of increase. The use of the law of increase is easy and pleasant. It consists first in establishing and maintaining an attitude of rich increase toward everything and everybody. In other words, let your main thought when thinking of yourself and others be the thought of riches, prosperity, success, and victorious good. Just by thinking of yourself and others as rich, successful, prosperous, and victorious, you help make it so. As you contact others by mail, telephone, and in person, let your thought about them be one of increased good. Just by giving them the benefit of your rich thoughts is a giant step in helping them to become that way. They may not be consciously aware of your prosperous thinking about them, but they will subconsciously receive and be richly blessed. Often they will respond to you in some rich and happy way. I do not believe that jail is quite the proper place for a prosperous thinker, but nevertheless, a man who once found himself imprisoned decided to make the best of the situation. After he was made a trustee in the jail, he was allowed to make occasional phone calls, and sometimes he would telephone me, Catherine Ponder, reporting his progress. Once he called very excitedly, declaring that for some time the main office of the jail had needed to be air-conditioned. He had visualized, affirmed, and given thanks that it would be, since the people working there had been kind to him, and he wished to see them comfortable and happy. He said that at last the office had received air conditioning, and that if no other good came out of his jail experience, at least he felt that this increased good for the office force was an indication of how prosperous thinking could bring happy results. How quickly affairs change for people after they begin thinking prosperously about themselves and others. A woman who had been married for 18 years began to apply the prosperity law of increase in her world. She received a letter from a man she had worked for prior to her marriage. He declared that when she married, he had been in financial straits and had not been able to give her a decent wedding gift. Now he was successful. He decided that the time had come to do something about the matter. He told her that a nice wedding gift was being mailed to her and her bridegroom of 18 years. Let's see, I'm going to jump forward. A businessman who knows the law of increase uses it constantly in his work as a credit manager to collect accounts owed his company. Little wonder that last year he led in collections for the entire company, which has offices all over the South. One customer owed his company thousands of dollars, which no one had been able to collect. The amount was so large, the account was so large, that one of the company's officials came from the home account in another state to investigate the collection of this account. The credit manager stated to the company official before they visited the customer, "The only way we will ever collect all this money is by being kind, courteous, and positive in talking with him. We've got to restore his faith in himself. We have got to show him that we believe he will soon be able to pay this amount in full. We've got to use the thought of increase on him. Criticism will get us nowhere." Thus, when they talked with this customer, they spoke of their faith in him and their belief that he could and would pay the debt he had contracted in good faith. Several days later, this customer rushed into the credit manager's office with his first payment on his account after months of non-payment. He declared, "The other morning when you walked into my office, I was feeling so low and such a failure in my business affairs that if you had criticized me, I would have immediately given up and gone to my lawyer's office and declared bankruptcy. But you were so kind to me and so positive in your faith that my business could be saved. It gave me the courage to believe it too. And already the turning point has come." All people are seeking an increase in food, clothes, better homes, more beauty, knowledge, leisure, pleasure, luxury, more satisfaction in their work, more increase of good in everything. And rightly so, for it is a divine desire. Thus the normal desire for increased good should not be condemned or suppressed. It is divine and can be lifted to divine levels of expression through the spiritual laws of prosperous thinking. How wonderful to use the law of increase rather than the negative law of decrease. Often, when people criticize, condemn, and belittle others, they do not realize that through the law of mind action, they are asking for the same things to happen to them. Never waste your time giving yourself or others the thought of decrease. Like bread cast upon the water, what you send out comes back to you multiplied, and it will produce corresponding experiences in your own life. Let's see. During a steel strike, 2 professional men proved the power of the law of increase. One, a chiropractor, refused to talk hard times or listen to such talk from his patients. Even though his office and much of his practice was located in the strike area, not far from the steel mills, he constantly talked increase, prosperity, and success. One night he attended a monthly meeting of the local Chiropractors Association, and most of the men present described what a tough time they were having in their practice because of the strike, in quotes. Finally, someone asked him about his practice, and he amazed the group by replying, "My practice has never been better. I refuse to talk hard times during a steel strike or in any other time. I have found that the power of prosperous thinking can change all that." A lawyer in the strike area also used the law of increase during the same period. His associates in the legal profession were constantly declaring how bad business was and that their practice was off. This man decided that to avoid falling into that limited state of thought, he had better be firm in his thinking. One night in his prayer session, he said, "Lord, I believe that you are my shepherd and that I need not want. I know those steel mills have been my main clients, but I also know that you have many equally prosperous clients who need my legal help. I am trusting you to provide new prosperous clients whom I may serve." At this time, he had 4 big corporation clients who were his largest channels of income. Soon, 3 of these corporation clients were giving him more business that brought in additional income. Several other corporation clients provided him with more legal business than the steel mills ever had. Thus, he was richly provided for during a period when most everyone was talking the law of increase and getting that result. You can invoke the law of increase in a number of simple ways. You should speak the law of increase about yourself and others, boldly and positively. You should look and act out the law of increase. You should write out notes of increase and image and affirm rich increase. It was Nehemiah of the Old Testament who used the law of increase to get the walls of Jerusalem rebuilt after the Jews returned from Babylonia. Cupbearer to the king of Persia, Nehemiah secured from the king the materials and manpower to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. But he soon discovered that hostile tribes had occupied Jerusalem while the Jews were in exile. It was necessary for Nehemiah to organize 2 crews of workmen, one to build the walls of Jerusalem and one to fight off the enemy tribes. The walls were rebuilt in 52 days after Nehemiah affirmed, "The God of heaven, he will prosper us." Often we have used the law of decrease rather than the law of increase and have only delayed our prosperity. Let's see, I'm jumping ahead. If you use the law of decrease and limit your good, you are never satisfied with the limited result. Eventually, you have to begin applying the law of increase anyway. So why not do it in the beginning and get on to your promised land of greater good rather than remaining in the wilderness of want, lack, and privation? My book jumps up, puts a mistaken page in there. We go from page 36 to page 81, so I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Give others the thought of increase. You should convey the impression of increase with everything you do, so that all people will receive that rich impression. When writing, telephoning, thinking about, or meeting others. Give your family, social acquaintances, business acquaintances, friends, world leaders, all people the thought of increased good. Declare for them, I bless you with a rich increase of God's almighty good. Speak bold words of faith, confidence, and increase to them directly as well. Just a few words can work wonders for another. A retired Army officer recently said to me, "You'll never know how much you helped me several years ago when I was feeling low and was actually on the brink of suicide. Your words turned the tide of my thinking and of my life." When I thought back, I realized the only thing I'd said to the man was, you aren't too old to begin life anew. You've been a success in the past, and you can be a success again. Take a new lease on life because you have what it takes to succeed. Speak words of increased good to others often. You may never know how much it means, but the results will show forth. When speaking of someone, speak in terms of their success only. If you know of someone who has been making a comeback from past mistakes, contribute to his unfolding success by ignoring his past and emphasizing only his present good. Not only will you add to his increased good, but you can be assured the skeletons in your own closet will be rattled less. Give yourself an equal thought of increase. You can just do it feeling that you are becoming more successful and you are helping others to do so. Your every act, tone, and look should express quiet, rich assurance of success. Words to convince others of your success are not so necessary when you get the feeling of richness implanted in your mental atmosphere. It is then radiated from you and subconsciously communicated to others. They will want to be associated with you in business transactions and otherwise, for they are subconsciously and consciously benefited by the feeling of richness, increase, and prosperity that you radiate. Just by quietly working to get the feeling of richness, success, and prosperity, you will draw to you prosperous-minded people you have never seen before, who will become your customers, business associates, and friends. People unconsciously go where there is an atmosphere of increase. It is thus that business expands rapidly and many rich blessings flow forth. As you give the thought of increase to others and entertain it quietly in the deep recesses of your own mind, others are attracted to you and automatically prosper you. Dare to invoke the law of increase in every way it reveals itself to you, both large and small. A housewife recently spoke of how she helped to pull her husband out of a financial slump by saying to him every day when he came home from work, "Now tell me, dear, every good thing that happened today." They were both surprised to see how much good came to pass and how much they had to be thankful for. The whole tide of their thinking turned from failure to success. Anything you can say to help yourself or others get the feeling of prosperity is worth the time and effort. Avoid hard times talk. Do not think, talk, or act any way but prosperously. Do not allow others to talk to you in any way but prosperously. Do not read anything or take seriously anything that is printed or said that seems contrary to prosperous thinking. If you mix up your trend of thought, you set up cross currents that neutralize your efforts for prosperity. In order to be permanently prosperous, dare to be different. You should not become upset when people talk hard times. Neither should you join in their sad chorus unless you want to experience hard times yourself. Instead, declare in the face of apparent hard times, divine restoration is taking place. The good which the locusts of lack have eaten is being divinely restored. The divine law of balance and equilibrium is doing its perfect work. The law of divine adjustment and balance is a universal law, and you can help that balancing factor work for good through your prosperous state of mind. This can be a time of rich blessings and great prosperity for you, because as the salesman declared, there's gold dust in the air. Think upon plenty ideas. Charles Fillmore showed us how to use the law of increase when those about us may be using the law of decrease. He says, the spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time and responds to your faith in it and your demands upon it. It is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected because our thoughts and words govern our demonstration. The unfailing resource is always ready to give. Pour your living words of faith into the omnipresent ethers, and you will be prospered though all the banks in the world close their doors. Turn the great energy of your thinking upon plenty ideas, and you will have plenty, regardless of what men about you are saying or doing. A businessman recently said to a banker who was trying to talk hard times to him, "There's plenty of money in the world, there's plenty of wealth, and there are plenty of wealthy resources to be developed and tapped. I refuse to believe in anything but wealth and prosperity for myself, for you, for all mankind." The banker shook his head and said, "You are the most optimistic person I know." He then proceeded to lend this businessman a sizable amount of money, with which this man proved that there is wealth and prosperity for anyone who thinks prosperously and who uses words expecting prosperity. Conserve and rightly use the substance of your being for prosperity by concentrating your thoughts, feelings, relationships, and activities on prosperity, not failure or lack. Expect to become prosperous. Start thinking and speaking in those terms and no other. Remind yourself often that scattered, idle thoughts, words, and expectations bring scattered, idle, poverty-stricken results. Hitch your mental image of prosperity to the rich star of success and keep it there. Overcome discouragement and disappointment. When you are tempted to become discouraged in your efforts towards greater prosperity, remind yourself that to think according to the general beliefs of the human race is easy and useless. But to think prosperously, in spite of appearances to the contrary, is worth every effort because it produces rich results. One editor has often said to me, "Remember, Catherine, the majority is always wrong." Another way to invoke the law of increase, and thus to avoid the pettiness and destructiveness of the law of decrease, is by training your mind never to be disappointed. If certain things do not come at certain expected times in the way you wish, do not consider it a failure. Since you have not received that thing, you can instead stand firm in the faith that something much better is on the way and will appear at the right time. When you seem to fail, remind yourself that it is because you have not asked big enough. Expand your viewpoint and expectation, and a larger answer than you originally anticipated will surely come. Failure is nothing but success trying to be born in a bigger way. Most seeming failures are just installments toward victory. Avoid hurry. As you invoke the law of increase, remember that there is no hurry, force, or push on the prosperous plane of life, and there is no lack of opportunity. Do all that you can in a successful manner every day, but do it as calmly as possible, without undue haste, hurry, or fear. Go as fast as you can, but do not hurry. The moment you begin to hurry, you cease to be prosperous in your thinking and become fearful, which is the prologue to failure. Whenever you find yourself hurrying along trying to force a result, call a halt. Fix your attention on the mental image of the thing you are working toward, and then begin to give thanks that you are receiving it. and accomplishing it in God's own wonderful way. A sales lady I know says that when she gets the feeling that she has so much to do, she does nothing. Instead, she goes off for a little while to relax, have a cup of coffee, and regain her equilibrium, after which she can usually accomplish twice as much in half the time. But you may object, how can I do this when I'm living in the midst of people who do not know these laws of prosperous thinking and who are constantly trying to rush me? When I worked as a secretary in the business world, I knew what it was like to be in such a situation. But I also discovered that one person who uses the power of prosperous thinking has more control of a situation than a whole army of harried people who scatter their in futile rushing around. At such times, mentally declare, peace, be still, and observe the atmosphere around you calm down to a reasonable pace. Free yourself from petty thinking. Do not waste time holding grudges, even toward those who have treated you unjustly. You will meet such people along the way as you rise toward success. Others who are not making the grade will try to hold you down to their mediocre level. But they can't if you refuse to be bothered by what they say or do. Nobody can keep your success and prosperity from you but yourself. If some people seem to try, and even to succeed, to dissuade you for a time, remember that success has endless doors ready to open to you, endless ways and means of providing your good. If one door closes, just know there are bigger and better doors trying to open. Don't get jammed in the half-closed door. Let it close. Be ready for the new doors that wish to open all the way for you. You can also free yourself of petty thinking in regards to others' success, and free yourself from their petty thinking by declaring, refusing to criticize another's prosperity, I turn to God, ask His direction, and I am prospered. In like manner, others refuse to criticize my prosperity. Instead, they turn to God, ask His direction, and they too are prospered. There is plenty of success and prosperity for all. Never become disappointed, discouraged, or upset by what others say or do in an effort to hold you down or take your good from you as you begin to rise through prosperous thinking. In the long run, they cannot hurt you, only themselves. Instead, feel flattered when people try to hold you down or down you in any way. It's a sure sign that at last you are succeeding and that others realize it. At such times, take a deep breath, give thanks that your success is now manifesting, and consider it a compliment that others bother to criticize or try to pull you down. There is doubtless something about you they secretly admire and feel is lacking in themselves. Otherwise, they would not feel the lack keenly enough to resent finding its opposite in you. Make the law of increase your new frontier. All of these methods and attitudes are part of the prosperity law of increase. As you think vitally about this fascinating law, it will reveal its own ways and means of expression to you further in regard to your own individual circumstances. I suggest you begin invoking the law of increase fully with these ideas. I am now experiencing perfect health, abundant prosperity, and complete and utter happiness. This is true because the world is full of charming people who now lovingly help me in every way. I am now come into an innumerable company of angels. I am now living a delightful, interesting, and satisfying life of the most widely useful kind. Because of my own increased health, wealth, and happiness, I am now able to help others live a delightful, interesting, and satisfying life of the most widely useful kind. My good, our good, is universal. Your good is created as fast as your good words are uttered. Dare to begin invoking the law of increase in the practical ways mentioned herein. As you do, your thoughts, prayers, words, and expectations of increased good shall circle the globe and maybe even reach into outer space. Indeed, you shall become a part of the new frontier for universal good that is now spanning this planet. And so be it. What an amazing chapter. I'm so grateful to have been able to read this. There's so many nuggets within it. And I found myself, after reading it and studying it this week, I found myself really more able to apply it with ease. It's just easy to think of speaking to someone going, wow, are they abundant? Look at the beauty in them, and look at the strength of their vibration and their wonderful energy that they're offering to the world. It just became easier. And I'm just, as ever, very grateful. Thanks. If somebody's talking, I'm not hearing you yet.
Hello?
Yeah,
There we
go. If Monica was speaking, I saw her lips moving, but I didn't hear anything either.
Right.
I don't hear Monica.
No se oye.
Jay or Celia, while she's working on that, would you care to share your thoughts on this magnificent chapter?
I just wanted to jump, Candice, to what you said, because for me too. Can you hear me well?
I can.
Yeah, it's a very elegant, like she says, and you just said, and it's totally true. It's easy and it's elegant, and it's a chapter that you can immediately apply, because it's full of common prosperous thinking sense, I would add, and if I can put in one little phrase, something that I loved of this chapter is when she says majority is wrong, because to me that's so powerful, because it like the generality of people, of situations around us are so riveted on negativity and on things that are not going to lead us to our success. So when she makes that statement and she says, that this person said, Miss Catherine Ponder, the majority is wrong, I find it so powerful, because we're so geared to go with the majority and with this common thinking, and it's so obvious, and more. That's what can also be called like trance. Like most people are in this trance of poverty, of limitation, and it's so easy. And of course, it takes courage and it takes a decision to get out of that. And this is such a powerful chapter to see life, to see people, to see situations in another point of view, And another thing that calls me a lot of attention, because it's really true, that when she mentions, sometimes even the people that you would assume that would support you for your success and would support you, for making it, are those who at some point are doing the opposite. And then you just apply this consciousness of this chapter, of seeing them in another mood, of forgiving and seeing them like prosperous too, and wishing the best for them. To me, it's the perfect antidote for jealousy or this corrosive toxicity that it can be ingrained in our subconscious without us realizing. And to me, I have to make a constant effort, because it's true, some people may be partners, or not in this context, of course, but in the real world context, you would think, oh, this person should be so happy that I'm beginning to make it, and it's just the opposite energy. And then with this chapter, I see the energy you can put to give it around, to make it totally different. Say, okay, this person, I wish for you too to become prosperous, to be successful, and then you have so much power. I think Catherine in this chapter is really empowering us a lot, you know, and and it's very easy also going a little bit to the, to the concept of increase and decrease, because I think those laws are extremely important. And even she mentions the Charles Fillmore explanation for that, because I think it's very easy to fall into decrease. So it's very important to understand them well. What really this increase in this context means, because very easily we can go into decrease and then there is a loss of balance. It's like maybe it's easier to be in decrease. Maybe the tide of the world takes us more there, but then with this little effort of consciousness, of joy, I would say, we go to increase and augment the increase, which is the whole point of the chapter, just to see the increase. And I just love it. Candice, yes, I think I'm too very grateful to be hearing you and to be today in this chapter, because it was a chapter that was full of joy. I enjoyed every minute. There is one sentence and one phrase that I really love, and I want to read it because to me it's extremely powerful, just to make the end of my part, which is when she says in the avoid hard times talk, which is very easy then to talk about hard times. We're doing it all the time subconsciously, sometimes just to make small talk to people, it's so important to avoid it. And this sentence that you read, Candice, that says divine restoration is taking place. The good which the locusts of lack have eaten is being divinely restored. The divine law of balance and equilibrium is doing its perfect work. I just listened to you, Candice, and I was like mesmerized. Yes, I just want to put this, in my forehead, this sentence. No, this is the power of this chapter, and this is the power of this book. I just love it. I go back to you, Candice, now.
Well, thank you, Thalio. Beautiful. Beautiful. You always have such cogent, insightful things to say. Jay, are you on yet, Monica? Can you?
I still don't hear Monica.
All right. Well, that means you're on, sir.
That means I'm on. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for a great job. I know it's not easy coming up here and reading, and so you did a wonderful job, and thank you very much. There's a couple things that stood out, and then as people talk, more things stand out. But it really a couple simple things in the chapter, and it's basic in life if you really think about it. And what stands out to me is have a positive attitude always. And even when, and sometimes we all know it's tough when we're challenged, but just to try to keep that positive attitude. And the other one was to uplift people. You never know where they're at. You never know where that just that simple, kind word, can change their life. And and I grew up with some very successful people, and it was always amazing because I would be out with them, and I had nothing to do with their business and all. But the one guy would always, whenever we were out, he would introduce me as his partner or as his business partner, and I had nothing to. But he just always knew how to make you feel special in a surrounding that you were uncomfortable in, and I always thought that was amazing. He was just an uplifting person. He always had the right attitude. Always brought people, a step higher than they were, or maybe that's the wrong term. I don't, but it just uplifts people, because I think people don't get it. We're so quick to criticize situations and people and companies and whatever, and people don't get enough accolades for, hey, you know what, you did a great job. That, hey, this guy's a great whatever. Find the positive in it instead of the negative. There was and I can't quote it from the book, but there's and it always comes back to me. I love Jim Rohn, but there's that the part about your disappointments, and he has a statement: discipline your disappointments. And we all have disappointments, but a lot of times you know, and you always, oh, there's a reason this didn't happen, and you always go, oh, I'm tired of hearing that. You know, there's a reason this deal fell through. But you know what? A lot of times there is, and your disappointments sometimes are leading to bigger and better things. So what didn't happen, and you know, and I know as a collective group, there's a lot of stuff that we had happen that didn't go towards the future that we had planned, and technically you would say they were disappointment. And okay, they were, but they've put us on a path to something greater and bigger. So the initial disappointment might be there, but don't dwell on it. Don't, you know, and it goes back to, let's find the positive. What was the positive out of a certain disappointment we had? Well, I got to get with a group of people I would probably never be involved with. I got to be around different thinking that I was never, you know, in tune to before. I got to see different sides and different philosophies that I don't have to agree with 100%, but you know what? That's interesting. That's new to me. That this puts me on a different path. Recently, I just had a couple doors open to me from contacts from other major disappointments in my life, but because I took the positive aspects of those disappointments, kept them in the loop, you know, recently I got an opportunity that would never have happened if I didn't connect with these people and I didn't stay in touch. And they were from a situation that most people would have walked away with and said, I'm done with them. I don't want to have anything to do with that. And, you know, it's given me a great opportunity. And the other thing is, and I laughed, and then Celio brought it up because the majority is wrong, you know, and I laughed. I go, gee, we had a presidential election here, so the majority voted, and we go this way. And I go, yeah, you're right, the majority is wrong. And I don't want to be negative, but it's fun, you know, because I think of myself in particular. I think of, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think everybody that's here is not normal. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but we're not your normal, 9 to 5, or we're not your normal get up and go to work for somebody and punch a clock. And so we're not the majority. And maybe when, you know, because I know my family goes, oh my God, what is Jay doing now? Oh, what does he do? I don't even know what he does. And you know, because everybody has a job and everybody has a normal life, and they take their 2 weeks and they do this and do that. And have I screwed up in my life? Yeah, but I'm not normal. I'm never going to be normal. I'm not the majority. I know Dr. Monica is not the majority. You know, I know Arne is not the majority. And that's not, and I say that only in the most positive sense of you're not normal in what the average person is. And that's why it's average, you know. And so where I agree, the majority is wrong. The majority can stay the majority, but it's that, you know, it's, you know, like the Japanese philosophy is, take that nail that sticks up and hammer it down and get, you know, they don't want you sticking out. Well, how do you move to the next step if you don't stick out? If everything was status quo, if somebody didn't look for that next level, we'd still be playing that old Thomas Edison phonograph on a cylinder. You know, we'd still have horse and buggy, but somebody stood up. Somebody wanted to be different. Somebody didn't want to be normal or the majority or do what everybody else was doing. Wanted to go a little faster, wanted to get there a little quicker. And so I agree. And I laughed, and I was glad when Celio brought that up. So I just think that's a good thing. Think that you're not the majority, that you're, you know, you're the minority, and, you know, you're the future, and you're going to change things because you are different. So, and once again, I just want to say thank you, Candace. Great job. And I think we're sort of hearing you, Monica, a little bit, or I don't know.
Mic is on now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, definitely.
Oh, great! My gosh, this technology, okay, it's working fabulous. Well, I want to say thank you to all of you, Candace, for reading beautiful. I already said, I don't know if you have heard it, but I mean wonderful. And then Celio for that kind of energy that you always express. I love it. And then Jay, so funny. It's the first time that I love to be a normal. Thank you. Thank you for your sharing, because I totally agree. I think we are, but I also want to relax people in the sense that, it's inevitable when the call kicks in for you to be more and to really tap into this consciousness. I mean, is inevitable. And something that I love, maybe from my spiritual life coach profession, I will say is I love this chapter because it's really the basics of a coach in any situation, to empower your peers, your students, or your clients, or whatever, So I love to see the best. I'm getting better because I really come from a place of, complaint and unconsciousness, and it's really a choice. I love to have the choice, and like she said on the chapter today, like to bless everything, everybody, to really bless. I mean, I invoke the best of this person. I invoke the best of the situation. I think is a habit, an easy one to start to apply. You have your intention in your heart, and then you start to see it more and more often, so it's easier and easier to apply it. So that's something that I really love. I learned this with the Course in Miracles long time ago when I studied and I taught Course in Miracles for 6 years, and to bless everything and everyone, and in this case with prosperity, with seeing the best of these people, enjoying their life and seeing their capacity. And so it is an intention, and very fulfilling intention, So I appreciate that. And then another thing that I love about the chapter when you were reading, Candace, is, this is beautiful because with Wallace, with the science of getting rich, I understood very clear that a certain way of thinking is to think beyond the appearance and to really think what we know as the substance, as the original substance, or the creator of God, or this unlimited consciousness that, like we were reading today, Candace, because we use it, we not diminish it. It's impossible to diminish that God, Goddess, loving presence, or eternal being, that we are. And I love to hear the same pointing, the same, think beyond the appearance, think the truth in you, that get in touch with that peace, be still, and know who you are, that silence, that eternity in you. So I love to be supported from Catherine Bonnet with the same situation, because I love the stories that she says, like how we can apply that, with lawyers and real life, to bless that enemy, in quotes, and to see the truth of the light in everybody and everything. So I think that's very rich for me. I love to offer that and to remember and to do it more and more, So I think Arne wants to say something too, so we are going to switch here with the technology.
We're using the same computer because the internet is better on the broad bandwidth. But anyway, so I want to I agree with, to be able to, the hardest work, even Wallace says that the hardest work is to see what is not there, and to visualize or live in the world that is not yet manifest, those parts that we want to change. And as a practical level, for example, if we have a child and we acknowledge them, that is the law of increase. So we acknowledge it. If we say, hey, why don't you do it better? They're gonna do it worse. You can never do it right. Come on, do it right. They will not succeed. But if we say, hey, this was great here, look at here. Today you did this thing, was even a little better than yesterday. And then they get excited and they will succeed. So I think the law of increase is manifest through the concept of acknowledgement to the world. And the other word that the law of increase is, in my words, is gratitude. So when I see gratitude, an acknowledgement, when I see gratitude inside myself or to the world, and I'm so grateful for what is, then it has a possibility to change, to be that, and go. It's like, what a wonderful tree, and tomorrow it's just grown bigger. And you know, I think most of us know the story about seeing. I liked Range Rover. Is a car that I really like, and I was in the States some months ago, and I saw this car, and the new one, and I said, "Wow, I really like that car." And then, well, then I'm coming back to Costa Rica. It's like, there is no way there are new Range Rovers in Costa Rica. It's just not happening. And then we came down here, and it's everywhere. It's like, what? So the law of increase, what I focus on is what I see. So being grateful and enjoying that Range Rover in my mind, suddenly start to increase. And it's start to be not so far away from me. It's coming closer and closer. So what we focus on and what we're grateful for and will is the law of increase in action.
Wow, thank you, Arne. Can you hear us well? Yes, okay, good. Well, we are almost here at the end of our hour together to nurture this consciousness that I love it, and to get inspired from each other here to apply it in our daily lives, you know, and how good it feels to, like Arne was saying right now, to see the best in someone else, and to be gentle with this transition, because to me, I can see, you know, I can beat up myself when I pick on someone, or I see just, you know, like, oh my gosh, I don't like this or I don't like that. Take it easy, you know, a deep breath, and to know that we are expanding that power of choice that we have, and we are mastering this powerful law that expansion is inevitable, evolution is inevitable, you know, like even when we see these people that they want to go like backwards, you know, in civilization or something because, you know, technology or whatever, I don't think so. I think expansion is inevitable, and that we are going to go to the moon at one point, like today we are going, you know, by airplane to New York or whatever it is, you know, so open to expand and to see the best and harmony in everything. And with this, I would like just to complete today to remind you again, thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment for prosperity, because we are changing the world. And thank you for the ones that you are not here in the panel, just for listening now or the recording. Remember to go to unlimitednetwork.com and join our mailing list so you can get emails from us. And also email Arne personally, ARNE @unlimitednetwork.com if you want to be in the panel with us. And I would like to complete today our call with the beautiful expansive thinking that Doc Fran gave us last week, that I resisted, and I want to say that loud to receive your support, okay? Because the sentence was saying, I am grateful that divine abundance manifests perfectly in me, through me, and for me daily. And I remember I saw it, I read it, I wrote, you know, this sentence one time, but then I felt like this is too much me, you know, like me. And then like lately I'm saying, you know, everything starts in me. So I would like to spend this next week to really ponder into this beautiful, I am grateful that divine abundance manifests perfectly in me, through me, and for me daily, knowing that that me, okay, is one with the universe, with an incredible open heart that really offers the best and the goodness and this empowering law that we are learning today about increase. So committed to see the increase in everybody and the best in everybody. I let you go for this week, and next week is going to be Saturday, May 16. So we meet again here at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful, prosperous week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Good day,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You do.